Hello, and welcome to episode 55 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm James.
And you almost didn't get a podcast because we got deep into talking about random blue cards that could be played in Pioneer just now.
Yeah, we'll get back to them in a little bit.
We'll get back to it. So today we're going to talk about the kind of this current state of Standard.
Yeah, it's wild.
And going to talk about what my plan is now currently on Monday for Pioneer.
Subject to change?
Yeah. I mean, I already bought an entire deck and now have audibled off of it.
Yeah.
After watching 4 hours of streams, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Aren't going to have a chance to shuffle it up before the tournament, right?
I'll goldfish it a little bit, but this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm counting on you and Cameron to carry me to respectability.
Well, that's interesting because I have a feeling Cameron's expecting to be carried, and I have a feeling I'm expecting to be carried. So.
So can you what happens if you just strap three people to each other's backs? How does that work? Or you just run in a circle?
I think you just run in a circle.
It's just awkward.
Or you don't go anywhere because everyone's trying to run in different directions.
Seems good. We're gonna have lots to report next week. If you want to tweet at me what I should play in Pioneer, you can get us at Casual Tripod on Twitter.
Yep. If you want to tell me what I should play in Standard, you can tell me on Facebook at Casual Tryhard MTG. And if you want to tell Cameron what he should play in Modern, you can tell us at show@casualtryhardmtg.com. And
we will, pass it on to him.
Yeah.
If you've been following us on Twitter, we have given away how many codes now?
A bunch. I think 7 on Twitter and another 5 or 6 on Facebook.
So, and I went through my pre-release kits, sorting cards, and I found 3 more. So we still have a few left over.
I still have actually quite a few left, maybe 7 or 8.
So if you didn't get to go to your pre-release and want 6 free arena packs,
hit us
get
up.
At us.
Make sure you turn your DMs on.
Yeah. Casual Tryhard is trying to slide into your DMs and give you a 6-pack.
Hey, yeah, there you go. Except it's not Casual Tryhard, it's my Twitter account.
Yeah. Just, you get the code and Carson pulling up his shirt this is the situation. I've been on a diet. Check this out.
That's right. Yeah, keg, not 6-pack.
If you're going to buy cards like I did this week for this deck, you can use our affiliate link at tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com.
Yep, that brings you to TCG Player through our affiliate link or whatever. We get a little cut of whatever you spend. If you can't find something at your LGS or you want some sweet foils that maybe are kind of hard to find, pick them up there, follow that link, and we'll get a little teeny tiny cut.
Exactly.
Yep. Also, we have some big news, right?
Yeah.
I turned on our Patreon.
There we go.
It's live. It's patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Right now, it just exists.
It exists.
Yep.
We will figure out what to do with it.
Yeah. Speaking of, you should tell us what to do with it.
Yeah. We had one idea of a tier, or if you're a patron, you could send us a card. Yeah. And then we could try to come up with decks or things to do with it for you.
Yeah, well, theory craft around it, I called it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
Yep, and we have had, a few of our listeners ask us, message us and ask us about Patreon, throughout this past year, just to see, if we had one or whatever. So if you guys that are interested, want something specific out of the Patreon, let us know.
Yeah. Because we don't want to just ask for money and not give you anything. I mean, other than our silky voices.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right. So if you have anything for that, let us know.
Yep. On to today's first topic.
Complete and utter confusion, which was, why is there no Standard release event?
Yeah, there was nothing this weekend. There was no coverage.
So I understand why.
Oh, why?
Well, Star City is kind of an East Coast TO.
Yeah.
And you have an East Coast GP. So people they might have thought they'd have a hard time being in competition with.
Right, but they could have run one in Orlando or something.
And they could have run one in Dallas Fort Worth and then been good. I have seen that apparently this GP was not the best run of the GPs.
Okay. Elaborate.
There was a tweet from Channel Fireball midday Saturday that said, we're not doing any more side events. If you've registered for something or you have a Fnatic pass, side events. If you haven't, we're not doing any side events.
Oh.
people said they were hour-long waits to sign up for drafts.
Wow.
That it took 20-plus minutes to get your prize wall stuff.
I wonder why.
So they had a 1,500-person, roughly, GP main event.
So it's bigger than they have been lately.
And it sounds like this venue is too small to support a GP that size. And then you have everyone else doing Command Zone.
Yeah.
And then all of the on-demand stuff suffered because there was no space. Yeah. I was reading people saying that they were playing on the floor.
Oh, wow.
Because they couldn't find space to do stuff.
Yeah, I won't be playing on the floor.
Yeah.
My back wouldn't handle that.
Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of people, like, end the monopoly and blah, 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 which I don't know if it's the monopoly, but the monopoly being that Channel Fireball has the exclusive contract. I don't think Channel Fireball has, like, mailed in, like, their GP stuff.
I don't think anybody else wants it.
Yeah, I don't know how much people want it, because...
Like, they put it out for... Like, that's how Channel Fireball got it. They put it out for bid, and, like, Star City was running them, and they declined to even put in a bid. Like, nobody wanted it. Yeah,
so I don't know, how much...
Yeah.
How much things are going to change. And I think, like, this seems like an outlier. Like, for the most part, the GPs that we've gone to recently that have been run by Channel Fireball...
Have been fine. Yeah.
They're, any, like round pairing issues, like, taking a long time, that's, one, been normal for every GP.
Right. Ever.
And two, I don't really think on the TO. I think a lot of it is... Like Walter and the like the pairing infrastructure and just that kind of thing. And like Theros is kind of a slow, like sealed environment.
Yeah.
So you have new cards and people playing a slow format.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to time. Remember when we did the cons pre-release?
Yeah.
And everyone thought Outlast was great, and it was just like a million turns. Like I remember looking like, I'm not going to take the Abzan kit because I want to actually finish games.
Yeah.
So it might have been a lot of that too, where like people were just slow to get to turns.
Yeah, could very well be.
But so a lot of people complaining, but that's also what the Magic community
they're great at
does.
That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah. Having not been there, I can't say like it was good or bad, but I can say that I'm not like discouraged from going to the GP we're planning to go to at the beginning of May.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Right, I'm not like, oh man, it's not going to, like, things aren't going to work.
I mean, you got to put yourself in their shoes a little bit, too. The last, I don't know, half dozen Grand Prix they've had have been, like, 500-person GPs.
Yeah, I mean...
And then all of a sudden they get a 1,500-person GP.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, I don't know this venue, but Modern Horizons wasn't that big. If they were if they were setting up, like, they were booking events or venues 6 to 9 months in advance, they were looking at, smallish events, and then to get, like, an old-timey giant GP was probably unexpected.
Yeah.
So, don't let that scare you off if you see that.
Yeah, no.
But bigger issue was we were just like, oh yeah, there'll be a standard event this weekend, so you can get some sweet data and figure out what's going on.
Right, like Twitch Rivals or the Star City usually have a team event on opening weekend.
Or any kind of event on opening weekend.
Or anything whatsoever.
Yeah, so we just took for granted. Like, you were like, I'm just going to stay home, watch some coverage. And you were like, is there not a tournament? Like, you got up, ate your cereal, turned on Twitch, and was like, why is there nothing? And there was...
just a bunch of scrubs.
Nothing.
Not that streamers are scrubs, but not the event I was looking for.
Not the event you're looking for.
These are not the events I was looking for. Magic Obi-Wan hands.
Yeah. And you just have the thing of, with like limited GP coverage.
Yeah, nobody watches limited GP coverage, so.
Well, there wasn't any GP coverage to watch.
Well, right. But like traditionally, they don't cover limited GPs because nobody tunes in for them.
But they usually like that. Like they were initially doing like release weekend, get hype for the cards.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And like this was release weekend.
Yeah.
I hope you like
crickets.
I hope you like stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
Also, like, I'm sure this person's a very nice person. I don't remember their name, but they 7-2'd with their sealed deck. They played 48 cards.
Oh no!
They played 48 cards with 19 lands.
What?
Boarded up to 50 in some situations and went 7-2. I was like, there's no justice. There's no justice in the world. Like, I looked at the deck. I was like, there are 8 cuts here that you could have easily made.
Here they are.
Yeah, I was like, I see it's kind of cohesive, but I was like, you don't need 3 of this card. Like, you would have been fine with 2. I was just like, oh my gosh, there is no justice. Like, what is going on? But it was so big that at the end of day 1, so was it round 7? So I guess not officially day 1, but the end of round 7, there were 20 undefeateds.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, all right then.
Yeah.
So there was nothing for us to watch.
Yeah, I have no data except for what we gathered over the weekend.
Yeah, and from what we mentioned last week and what we just talked about, we have a tournament to go to.
We do. We're doing Team Trios, Star City Open in Richmond.
Yeah.
Leaving Friday.
I have no idea what I'm playing. You are currently on the sleeve 2 decks plan.
I got 2 decks built.
Yeah, I bought all the cards for a deck. Yeah. And now I'm buying all the cards for another deck.
Yeah. And I think Cameron's got a deck picked out.
Yeah.
So I'm playing Standard.
Yes, you are. And so you spent a lot of time trying to figure out Standard on Arena this week.
I did. I spent all of the time trying to figure out Standard on Arena this weekend. Do you got the chart in front of you? How many games did I play?
I will look at the chart right now. It was a lot. It was more than I did. I was trying to help, and then I got sick of some things, and so I bailed a bit and did a draft.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that some more.
Early in this format, I'd been playing Red-Black Sacrifice with Croxa.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that card's super sweet, and I still think it has a home, but maybe not right now in this metagame when people are still trying to figure things out. I noticed probably 4, by now at least 5, distinct shifts in the metagame over the 3 days I was playing Arena.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy.
So James currently has, if my math is correct, 48 games in.
Yeah. I played a lot. Well, that's 48 matches. I was playing best of 3 all weekend.
Yeah, and that's not counting the you did the metagame challenge?
Oh yeah, I actually did 2 metagame challenges.
You went 6-1 in one of them, and
yep, I went 6-1 in one, and I went 5-1 in another one, I think.
Yeah, these are the things that you played a one loss.
One loss.
What is it? You get a bajillion packs if you...
Yeah, I think I got 20 or 25 for the 6-1.
Okay.
It was a good chunk, plus double my entry fee back.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. Cool. They're hard though. There was a lot of good people playing in there this weekend.
Yeah.
They're not easy. But so I was splitting my time this weekend. I played about half of my matches with Jund Sacrifice, featuring Croxa, and a neat little engine from Theros with Treacherous Blessing. The 3-drop enchantment lets you draw 3 cards, and then you take a damage every time you cast a spell.
Yeah.
And the Dryad of Ilsean Grove, the one that makes all your lands rainbow lands.
Oh, yeah.
Lets you play an extra land. Because you see so many cards with Corvold out.
And the draw 3.
Yeah, and drawing 3. You just get to vomit your hand and play everything with the Dryad out. And then the neat interaction with Corvold is you can sack the Blessing to Corvold. So you end up drawing 4 cards off of it instead of 3.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cute.
Yeah, you take 1 damage, but who cares?
Yeah, whatever. That deck feels very strong. The only problem is it's a little tough to play on Arena because there's so many clicks, and I was timing out games, which is why, the deck felt great, but I was losing games to timing out, which is why I kind of switched gears a little bit and started playing a different deck that could win games on Arena, and that's a Gruul beatdown deck.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
Is it off the Andrew Cuneo list that I sent?
Yeah. Similar to it. I tweaked it a little bit. I don't know if the Klothys is correct.
The thing I liked about Klothys was in the control games, if you got them low, it was a real clock that they had to deal with.
Yeah, all the control decks now are running Banishing Light, though.
Yeah.
So they have answers.
It is awkward there, yeah.
In every other matchup, though, it just kind of does nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot. It's
just
not really
sits there.
It's not really a great ramp spell.
Yeah. Oh, it's never a ramp spell. It's almost never a ramp spell.
Yeah, it's almost always deal 2.
Yeah. And like the only corner cases are like if you're playing a deck with Titans in it, like the ramp decks are playing Uro. Yeah. And like some of the red-black sacrifice lists are running Kroxa. Like obviously it's kind of good there.
I think the list had like 3. You could probably get away with like 2.
Right now I'm on 2 into Nylea, and I think I want to cut another one.
Okay.
But we'll see. Still got some time to tweak it.
Yeah, Nylea is a little awkward just because you have...
Nylea does something, though, and it makes all your creatures cost less.
Yeah, but some of your creatures are like the fact that they're like red-green, and then you only get like 1 pit for them.
Yeah, except like Vivian basically turns it on by herself.
Fair.
I've had Nylea online more times than I have Klothys.
Yeah, I think I didn't have Klothys on very much either.
Yeah, so... And maybe those slots just need to be something different, but I don't know. We'll see. There's still some testing to do.
Yeah.
So early on this weekend, Mono Black was kind of everywhere.
Yes.
Mono Black Devotion. And then the Blue-White Dream Trawler decks, whether it was control or enchantment based, there was a couple different versions.
Or mid-rangey,
yeah. They started to creep in, and some Red-Black Sacrifice. So that this would be like Friday night, maybe? Friday night, early Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then there was a metagame shift, and Simic Ramp was everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Because I think someone said Simic Ramp was great on a podcast or something.
Yeah. Just like tune into Twitter, and they'll tell you what to play, and then that's all you'll see on Arena.
Yeah.
Jund Food, I saw a little bit. I was playing it at this time, and I think I ran into 1 or 2 other lists. Mono Red Embercleave started coming around.
Yeah, I ran into that a few times.
Yep. And that deck's kind of sweet. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then Mono Black almost like disappeared. And then I don't think I've seen Mono Black since then.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
Did you see there was a tweet or a Facebook post or something put on by Wizards that said Grey Merchant of Asphodel is the most redeemed card ever on Magic Arena by 30%?
Wow.
Yeah.
So people just were like, I want Gary's.
Everybody loves him some Gary, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a unique card in black, the fact that it gives like the black decks reach.
Yeah, aside from that, I feel like a lot of Arena is slightly more casual.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more people just jamming games than there are like hardcore grinding the ladder. Mm-hmm. And Gary is a very casual card.
Yeah.
Casual players love Gary.
Except for when he's like, the best card in the format, which he was at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that helps too.
Yeah. And there might be a lot of nostalgia value too. The number of people that played in original Theros. And
it was just 6 years ago. That's typically like the cycle time for like Magic players. Mm-hmm. Typically they'll, play for a couple of years, take a couple of years off, come back for a couple of years, take a couple of years off. So we would be like back into those players by now.
I mean, I haven't taken my couple of years off yet.
Oh, I have. I took like 20 years
off.
Well,
I took 10 years off, and now like...
Yeah.
haven't taken a
Don't leave me, Bryan.
I haven't taken a break now. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think nostalgia and like everyone wanted to build Mono Black.
Yeah.
When it first...
Yeah, that was definitely hyped real hard going into release. But yeah, it's just about disappeared. I don't think I've played on it or played against it since then. After that, there was another kind of metagame shift. Simic Ramp kind of got phased out a little bit. I still run into it every once in a while. But now it's a lot of Sultai and Bant. I've seen both versions.
Yeah.
I guess with different win cons. Like, I'm not super sure why you would run Bant. Like, what's Bant get you?
I was playing against that deck.
Yeah.
Going, why on earth are you playing white cards?
Yeah.
Got Dream Trawlered.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, there was some other stuff, and I was like, what is this? Like, there might have been, like, deputies of detention and whatnot. Yeah. And I was like, what is going on here? And then just, like, Dream Trawler. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I am boned.
The couple times that I ran into Bant, I was playing Gruul. I didn't play against it with Food, so our games didn't go super long. When I was on Gruul, they went, like, take their first turn off, second turn cast a Growth Spiral, third turn cast an Uro, and then I killed them on the fourth turn.
I was playing, was it Mono White? And I sent a screenshot to our group chat.
Yeah.
It was like, my turn 3 on the draw. My opponent had 6 lands in play, an Arboreal Grazer, and a Cavalier of Thorns.
Yeah.
On their turn 3. and I had like Healer's Hawk, Daxos, and I was like, not a whole lot I can do with this.
Yeah. And then, like, around the same time that the ramp decks kind of shifted, Gruul came around, the deck that I was just telling you I started playing, where it's like Klothys and Spellbreaker and...
Yeah, Andrew Cuneo tweeted that out. I think I retweeted it.
Yeah, you did. That's where I got the list from.
Yeah, and so, like, he has enough clout, the hot buzzword in the Magic community right now, clout, that people are going to see that. Listen, I tried it. I was like, oh, okay, this seems
sweet. This
seems reasonable. Yeah.
Like I said, I think it needs some tweaks, but I was a fan. I still am a fan. Like I said, I'm sleeving up 2 decks this weekend. That's one of them.
Yeah, we're going to have at least one Pioneer deck ready to go. As I'm looking at Scarab Guts.
Yeah. And then, like, late last night, I was jamming games up until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Like, I played almost all weekend long.
Yeah. There was one point that I was up at, like, an odd time, and I had one friend, and I left, and I was like, why is James up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I was trying to get Standard figured out, man. I'm doing my best for the team.
Thank you.
So late last night, the metagame shifted again, and I played like 5 matches before I went to bed. It was like mono red, blue white, mono red, blue white. That's all I played my last 5 matches last night.
Yeah.
So, and it's still changing.
It's not like the last time we had a new set where it was Eldraine.
Yeah.
And we had like best deck in air quotes being Dance. Mm-hmm. And then that just immediately got supplanted by you just had to play Field of the Dead.
Yep.
And then that immediately got banned, and then you had to play Oko.
Yeah.
And then that got banned, and then it was kind of like...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. This is churning pretty fast. It's because there's not been an event.
Right.
I think the metagame, like, locks a lot faster when you have an event.
Right.
Because then people see what did well.
Right. And they gravitate towards
and now it's just kind of like, this is back to when we first started, and we talked about how the arena metagame moves so fast.
Right.
Because, like, someone posts a list they did well with, and then people start playing that, and then people start playing the deck that beats that, and then we circle all the way back around.
Right.
In the course of, like, a day.
Right.
And we're back to that because there's no, like...
There's no data yet.
There's no data, and I don't think there is a supremely busted card to warp the whole format around.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught, our store has a group chat that I kind of try to stay on top of.
Yeah.
To, make sure the chat's going well, make sure everybody knows what's going on as far as like store events, if anyone has any questions, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if you saw like what I had posted in there last night about like how Standard is basically wide open right now.
Yeah.
Like you can do kind of whatever you want.
Yes.
I think I rattled off a dozen different interactions that people had built decks around.
Yeah.
We're going to go through some of them now. We're not going to go through all of them because I organized my list of Standard thoughts according to
like kind of the cards, the pillars.
Yeah, the pillars of the format. I know it's super early to have pillars of the format, but I'm trying to use terminology that we've used on the show before.
Yeah.
And we kind of went over like what pillars were and, how to define them and stuff like that back early on in the show. If you're interested in that, by all means, go back and check that episode out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to break down Standard real quick according to my 50-ish matches and however many you played.
Yeah.
According to the data that we had.
We have 67 matches between us.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to break down those matches kind of in pillars of the format and how I'm going to use this to kind of attack this weekend.
Gotcha.
So the first pillar is Embercleave.
Yes.
There's a couple different Embercleave decks. The first one is mono red. They run usual mono red stuff, Fervent Champion, Scorched Spitter, Runaway Steamkin, Light Up the Stage. But they picked up Anax.
Yes.
Which is not where I expected to see Anax. But he's a house in this deck.
Yeah.
Have you lost to this yet?
Probably. I do remember playing against this.
Yeah, so Anax, his power is equal to your devotion to red.
So when you put an Embercleave on him, he gets +3/+1 on double strike.
Right.
Because of the 2 red pips.
Yeah, and it just kills you.
Yes.
And then even if you kill him, he leaves behind 2 bodies because his power is 4 or more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's brutal.
He's kind of the mono red Reggie.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, like
he holds a sword very well.
Yeah, he can kind of get to that.
Yep.
Like Embercleave strikes me as like maybe the fairest unfair card we have.
I think so. That's a good way to put that.
Because like there are just games where you make 0 decisions as the opponent. You're like, oh, I'm gonna play. You're like, you have like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, or like you have some reasonable thing, and you don't have, and you're just like, they like make an attack when they're on 4. They have 2 creatures, and they make an attack when they have 4 mana,
and you just die.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, they have Embercleave because like this creature just like gets eaten,
right?
And then you just like are like, oh, I guess I don't. It's like, oh, I didn't draw my removal spell.
Yep.
While this game just ended. It's like, huh. But it's a card that like you have to attack and block, attack, and then it's just like, here you go, you lose now.
Yep.
Like,
deal with this.
Oh, cool. But yeah, like Annex does, like it gets big like Reggie, but doesn't make you discard cards and makes your mana just gets to be Mountain, and Castles.
So I had one game where I was playing Gruul, and my opponent was playing blue-white, and they cast Elspeth, the white Elspeth enchantment, the saga.
Elspeth Conquers Death.
Yeah, that one.
The card's bonkers.
So I hard cast my Embercleave because I didn't have enough mana, or I wouldn't have had enough mana on the turn where my non-creature spells cost 2 more.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming and then killed him with it.
Yeah. They just like tapped out and you were just like,
well, here
put
it is.
In.
Yeah. Might as well.
Put it on the thing that you didn't kill and you're dead.
Yep. The next Embercleave deck is Knights. This is super traditional. I don't think they picked up anything new other than some of them are on Kroxa.
Yeah, but I haven't seen the Kroxa, but the Knights lists are just the old Knights list.
Yep.
Like, why bother playing any new cards?
Yep.
Which is fine.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the Gruul deck that I've been talking about off and on so far this show. If you want to, see the exact list, you can check out the tweet that Bryan made. I believe it was Saturday night.
Yeah, because I immediately put the deck together.
Yeah. I'll also try and, as soon as I come up with a cohesive my version, I'll post that up too. That should be pretty well tuned for where the meta is right now. So I'm not going to go super far into it because you can see.
Yeah, the only thing, like we were talking in our chat, people were talking about like the number of Embercleaves, and the original list had 2.
Right.
Which was odd because most of the Embercleave decks are just on 4.
Right.
That they just want to draw an Embercleave because it wins the game. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if like I know they get clogged up in your hand, but sometimes you just like wanted to draw your Embercleave. I don't know though. Like,
yeah, no, I would not play 4. I might test 3, but I would not play 4. The Gruul list is a little bit different than like the all-in Embercleave decks like Mono Red or Knights. Like Knights can kind of get around it because they draw a bunch of cards and like have a late game plan.
Yeah.
Mono Red just always wants an Embercleave. So Mono Red always wants it no matter what. It doesn't matter if they got 2 in their hand because they're going to kill you with it. Knights can draw around or through an Embercleave, so it really doesn't matter if they draw their second one because they're probably going to draw 2 more cards. Mm-hmm. But Gruul can't. If there's one stuck in your hand, it means that you don't have a Questing Beast, a Spellbreaker, whatever else you're looking for. And like a lot of times you just don't get the mana either.
Yeah.
Like, I've had a bunch of games where I just didn't have mana for Embercleave. On top of that, there's so many Wraths running around. Like playing Embercleave is not free.
Yeah.
Like you are making a serious deck building concession registering Embercleave.
Okay.
So I don't think 4 is the right in this deck. I don't think 4 is the right number. I might try 3 out. I'm currently on 2 and have still had 1 rotting in my hand many points in a game.
Other thing that how do you feel about Sir Farron? Like
that, he's great.
Okay, when I was playing the deck, like I kind of wish I didn't have 3. I wish I just had like 2 because the number of times that like
I kind of wanted another one.
So I haven't played as many games with it as you.
Yeah.
But I just ran into like Pelt Collector have a Mountain And
that's kind of awkward.
And not being able to, like, whereas, like, oh, this is a Zertog Goblin, I get to actually play it. Or, like, Temple of Abandon into Have Mountain, and you're just like, I can't play this 2-drop. And he's good for his ability, but...
Yeah. So, did you see what I was talking with Christos about in our team chat?
A little.
So, this deck feels almost unbeatable when you grow, like, Pelt Collector, either Zertog Goblin or Surferin into Spellbreaker. Like, those games are easy mode. You win almost every time.
Yes.
The games where you don't, it's extremely hard.
Yes.
You really have to work to get the game in a spot where you can win. And I think that you need to almost always mulligan your 7 if you don't have 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And I don't know that you get that looking at the list. Like, I identified that as a problem with the deck early on, and I almost put Fervent Champions in it. But I wanted to have the 2-drops, so you could go 1, 2, 3, and I think if you put Fervent Champions in, you can't run Surferin.
Yeah, you have too much red at that point.
Yeah, and there's not really another great 2-drop. Like, I guess you could run the, 2-drop, 2, 3. Or I guess you could run, Growth Chamber Guardian, too. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I feel like that Surferin was a concession to turning on your Clothis. Like, just more pips.
No, I don't think that's necessarily true. Like, the games where you Pelt Collector, Surferin, Spellbreaker, Embercleave, you win on turn 4. And I don't think you can do that without Surferin, because Surferin is 6 damage on turn 3.
Yes, because the 2 itself, and then it's 4 damage, right?
Well,
it's 2
so you go Pelt
2.
Collector turn 1.
Oh, okay.
And then, he gets bigger when you play Surferin, and then he gets pumped the turn afterwards. Plus, if you have, Domri's Ambush, you put the counter on him, and he can get through for more damage. You put the Embercleave on him, and he pumps the team. Or not the team, but... He was really good. I don't really want to cut him.
Okay, that was the only the mana is better, but there were just times where I was like, I wish this was another Zertog Goblin because I could actually cast it and feel good about myself.
One change I did make was I changed the mana base a little bit. I did go down a forest.
Okay.
And I went up a red Castle Embreth.
Okay.
Just as another way to, push damage early. Like if you don't have if you don't have your questing beast or something. Yeah. It's something to do with your mana on turn 4 while you're trying to push damage.
So just looking at random green 2-drops, depending on how much blue-white there is. Mm-hmm. Destiny Spinner?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah.
Oh.
The 1 and a green 2/3, your spells can't be countered.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you
Tag team, you're in, buddy.
So you have that as just, and you can, if you have 5 lands, you can just make a 3/3 land and batch with it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm in.
Growth Chamber Guardian as
yeah.
I think we were talking a big problem with this deck is it just doesn't draw cards.
Yeah.
And Growth Chamber Guardian, backdoor draws you cards. Mm-hmm. Though I find it hilarious. Green just draws. If you put blue on it, it just draws cards.
Yeah.
If you put red on it, it gets haste.
Yeah.
It's just it's if you put blue on it, it gets trample flying and draws you 18 cards. If you put red on it, it gets haste. It's cool. I guess Crawl Harpooner, but there's not a ton of flyers for him to fight.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not going to take down a Dream Trawler or anything.
No. Maybe. I guess he gets hexproof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. That's the one that looks at least borderline interesting is Destiny Spinner.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how much, if there's a ton of blue-white towards the end of the week.
Well, I had actually made deck building. Yeah, it depends what the metagame looks like at the end of the week. The list that I'm currently running has made concessions to trying to fight blue-white because it's so hard once they wrath you. Yeah. You just can't beat a Dream Trawler.
That's where, Growth Chamber Guardian is just, when Esper, when I was playing Gruul back in the cave days of last spring, I would play, Growth, your best draws were, Pelt Collector, Growth Chamber Guardian, put a counter on it, draw your next one, and make them wrath that 5 power or 6 power, And then if they wrath it, you just play the next one.
Right.
And you like tried to set it up, or you tried to set it up where you knew you could play the Growth Chamber Guardian and then immediately activate it to get your card back. And now they have to deal with this thing. Surfarian is great for the beats, just like the casting it sometimes is a little. But yeah, so Embercleave and just getting people dead before they have a chance to like engage in your game is good.
Seems like a solid game plan so far. So I think that's what I'm going to call the first pillar of the format is Embercleave.
So the next one is one that has come up a few times as unbeatable.
Yeah.
And that is Dream Trawler.
Yep.
So Dream Trawler, if you have not got bashed by this in Limited, is 2 white, blue.
Yep.
For a 3/5 flyer. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +1/+0.
Yep. Lifelink.
It's lifelink flying.
Yep.
When you attack, draw a card. So it attacks as a 5/5 lifelinking flyer.
Right.
And you can discard a card to tap it and give it hexproof.
Yep. So it's super hard to kill.
Super hard to kill. And if they get one swing in, it just undoes like all of your work.
Yeah, it's a 10-point life swing.
And you're just like, oh, like you were at 6, now you're at 11, and I can never kill you.
Yeah. I identified 3 decks that are playing Dream Trawler. I'm calling them all Dream Trawler decks.
Yeah.
The first is Esper Control. I believe, well, I'll name all 3 of them, and then we'll break them down. So the first is Esper Control. The second is Blue-White Control. And the third is Esper Hero. So I think the reason to play Esper Control over Blue-White Control is you get extra Wraths, from what I gather.
You get Kaya's Wrath, and you get Thought Erasure.
Oh, Thought Erasure too, yeah.
You get Thought Erasure, and you get Kaya's Wrath plus Shatter the Sky.
Yeah.
Which I know that they tried to put like a drawback on Shatter the Sky.
Yeah.
In most cases, it doesn't have a drawback.
Right.
And sometimes that drawback is turning your 4-for-1 into a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
And you're still way ahead on that exchange.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that deck just is fine. And like I think most of the white decks are also playing Elspeth Conquers Death.
I don't think Esper Control is.
Okay.
Esper Control also gets Ashiok.
Yes.
Which is a lot better than I had initially thought. That card can be pretty hard to beat too.
Yeah, it's just mono 2/3s.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the 2/3s do a good enough job blocking where you can't get through to pressure the Ashiok, and then all of a sudden it ults and like casts all your spells. Shit. Yeah. So Esper's kind of tricky. There's some reasons to be Esper over Blue-White. There's also some reasons to be Blue-White. Like you mentioned, Elspeth Conquers Death.
Yeah, your mana is way better.
Yeah, your mana is way better. They also get to use Banishing Light as a removal spell, which is a little bit easier for them to like interact with. They get to run Castle Ardenvale, which Esper does not.
Yeah. Because
your mana is so much better, and you can have one of your lands be a win con that like you don't care about wrathing, your soldiers away because you can just make more. And I can't really think of. Esper or Blue-White also plays. Is it the Birth of Meletis or whatever?
Birth of Meletis, yeah.
Yeah.
Which like really hampers the aggressive decks. Like it's everything that deck could ever want.
Yeah.
It's like hit your land drop, get a blocker, gain 2 life. Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it plays well if they play Thirst for Knowledge or Thirst for Meaning.
Yeah. Thirst for Meaning.
Yeah,
I've seen Thirst for Meaning out of all 3 of these decks.
Yes. Elspeth Conquers Death doesn't... I didn't put this together initially. It's just... Oh, what is it called?
The Eldest Reborn?
It's just the Eldest Reborn.
Pretty much.
Right? And if that standard is kind of a precursor, Dream Trawler is probably too good not to play 2 of.
Yeah.
But the decks might just move to 2 Dream Trawlers, 4 Elspeth Conquers Deaths, and no other ways to win the game.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have your removal spell also just double as your win con.
Yeah. I mean, it also hits any of their planeswalkers back too, their little Teferis or their Ashioks or whatever.
The only awkward thing is it exiles the card that it targets.
Yeah.
So you can't get that back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on
Well, it's your graveyard.
Is it your graveyard or any graveyard?
No, it's your graveyard.
Okay, well then never mind that.
It's your graveyard, and it returns with either a +1/+1 counter
or an extra loyalty counter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was both.
No. And then Esper Hero's pretty stock from what it was, except for the addition of Dream Trawler.
And the blue-black 4-drop. 2 blue-black, 3/2 with Menace.
Oh, yeah. Artemis or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That card's a lot better than I thought, too.
Factor
Those
Fictions
piles are hard.
They're hard, and I mean, you almost always take the 2.
Yeah.
There was a Channel Fireball sent out a tweet of just like a short Reed Duke video, just like a minute clip, and it was just like people can't resist the 2 cards.
Yeah.
And he put like the 1 spell face up and then 2 lands face down, and just Snap took the 2 lands.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Alrighty then.
But yeah, that card is good. Like people were saying it's kind of a better Elite Guard Mage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
The thing that kind of holds the Esper Control and Blue-White Control decks together is just how good Shatter the Sky is. Like, just Wrath of God in your format is pretty good.
Yeah. I don't think Hero's running Shatter the Sky, though.
No, I was going
to
say just the Esper Control and Blue-White. Like, that's what holds those together.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot of people that aren't huge fans of Hero, just like, there are so many, there are better things you can do than just play your, like, 2/2 and hope.
I agree, but I've seen it around.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of it too.
Yeah, and I have seen Dream Trawler out of them.
Yeah, so. Like that's like their top end because that card is again absurd.
Right. The next group of decks is I called them because we have to name a pillar of the format. These are the Arrow decks.
Yeah.
So this is Simic Ramp, Bant Ramp, and Sultai Ramp. We kind of broke down a little bit of what they're doing when we were talking about the format a couple minutes ago. Yeah. One cool thing I have seen out of the Simic Ramp decks that I haven't seen out of Bant or Sultai is Blinking Agent of Treachery with Thassa is a pretty good top end.
Yeah. I think Bryan Gottlieb was just like, if you get to Blinking Agent of Treachery, you just can't ever lose the game.
Yeah, you just take all their lands.
Yeah, he's just like if you're playing 4 Thassas, you just need to play 4 agents.
Yeah.
There is one thing, though, that like Uro only really works in decks that have Cavalier Thorns.
Correct.
Because you have to have the way to fill up your graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 mana for a Growth Spiral, like, isn't
fine.
Yeah. There's better things to be doing, though.
Yeah, but then when that turns into 4 mana for a Growth Spiral, it will staple to a 6/6.
Yeah.
There's not a lot better you can do.
Right. I have seen Dryad of Ilsean Grove out of the Simic versions.
Okay.
Just as another way to put all your lands into play.
And it blocks mono red stuff forever.
That's true. Blocks it forever. Most of the lists are on Risen Reef.
Yes.
And some number of Thassas. I've seen them blinking their Risen Reefs before just to churn. But otherwise, it's the same game plan that we've seen, last standard. Nissas and Kraysai and what have you.
I've heard some people have, again, they were talking about this on Arena Deck Lists, that people are cutting Krasis.
So I heard that on Arena Deck Lists, and every single Simic list I've seen, I've gotten Krasis.
Yeah, I don't know how you cut that card.
Yeah.
That card's like one of the reasons to be blue-green.
Yeah.
Like you could be green something else, except for the fact that you have, I don't know, Stroke of Genius. You have, what is it called? Sphinx's Revelation stapled to a creature.
Yeah.
It's like, I should probably just play this card.
Yeah.
If I'm in one of these colors.
Correct. The Bant versions do a lot of the same things. They're not going to have, like the Agent of Treachery Thassa stuff. I'm pretty sure that's only Simic.
Yeah.
They run Little Teferi, and then you said Dream Trawler.
Yes, I've been Dream Trawler out, yeah.
Like I said, the couple times, I've only ran into Bant a couple times, and the couple times that I've run across it, I was on Gruul, and they just squished them before they did anything.
Yeah.
So the Sultai lists are a little bit more interactive than the Bant and the Simic versions. I've been Erebos' Interventioned out of them.
I've been Urok'd.
Okay, I haven't seen Urok.
Where they played Urok, where they're more of like an Elementals build. They're like Sultai Elementals.
Okay. I hadn't seen that. Like the versions that I've seen were pretty much just ramp with Erebos' Intervention. But, if they, have 11 mana and cast an Erebos' Intervention for 10, kill your guy, gain 10 life, like they just undid a whole bunch of turns.
Yeah, we're done here.
Yeah.
Also, Urok goes really well with Uro. Like if you mid turn 4 you Urok, turn 5 you're like Uro, draw 2, gain 6, put in 2 lands.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like, cool.
Yeah, sacrifice it twice.
You're really dead. You're going to come back in a second, buddy, but you're really dead right now.
Really dead. The next pillar I just called Witch's Oven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
There's a cat. There's an oven.
Yeah.
There's probably a Mayhem Devil.
And the cat came back
the
very next day. So the first deck in this is Red-Black Sacrifice. Almost exactly the same as it has been, except it gets Kroxa now. I've seen some lists with the new discard spell.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've seen that as well. Also, like some of the Esper lists have been on, like, some of those as well.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd play that in Esper. I guess just for the exile.
It was Thought Erasure and that. Like, you were like, there was
like
more.
Their 5th and 6th or whatever. Yeah. There's a Jund Sacrifice list running around. This is the other deck that I'm leaning into for this weekend. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go super deep into it right now because we kind of already went over it. That deck is really powerful, though. And I know there was a little bit of hype around it coming from Arena deck lists, like going into the weekend. But I haven't really seen much of it. And it kind of seems like everyone forgot about it already. And that was kind of one of the things that Bryan was talking about, that, everybody sees something shiny, they want to play with the new stuff, and they don't realize how powerful this deck is.
I feel attacked as I'm putting together a Pioneer deck that I saw, and it was shiny.
Ooh, shiny.
I was like, ooh.
Right, but you have reasons to not play the deck you were going to play.
I do.
We'll talk about them in a minute.
And then we have Mono Black.
Yep.
Which is taking advantage of Nightmare Shepherd. Mm-hmm. To double your triggers on things, let it be mainly Grey Merchant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but you can do it on some other things as well.
Yeah, if you go like Witch's Oven, something else, Nightmare Shepherd, Gary, you just like fireball them out of the game from 20.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I guess I'm like, take 4 from your 4/4 flyer. Okay, cool. Now I'll hit you for 8, and then I'll sack this and hit you for 8 again.
Yeah,
because the token keeps the mana cost of Grey Merchant, so the token has 2 black pips.
Yep. If you've done anything else that game, you basically win.
You're like Oven, play my cat.
Yeah.
Play like a Midnight Reaper, and then you're just like, okay, you're dead. I have enough pips now.
Yep. The next pillar are Fires of Invention.
Yeah.
Jeskai Fires got real good, right?
Yes, I think Jeskai Fires got better. I know that, again, like other podcasts have said that they just can't ever win with the deck.
Yeah.
And I think that it can, with the control decks, is kind of the limiting factor on aggressive decks.
Right.
Right. You have to be able to account for a turn 3 Deafening Clarion, and then turn 4 another sweeper.
Yeah,
so they get to play like 8 sweepers in their deck.
I mean, they could play more than that, but yeah, they get to play at least 8. They got Shatter the Sky and Storm's Wrath. I've seen both of them out of Jeskai, so I don't know what the proper split is, or
but it's one of those things that it seems like if you haven't like put them under enough pressure, and by enough pressure I mean turn 4 dead them or almost dead them, then they are always guaranteed to have a way to kill most of, if not all of your creatures.
Oh yeah, they fires and then cast a Wrath, and then next turn they kill you.
Oh. Yeah.
I have seen Dream Trawler out of this deck also.
Oh, I haven't seen that, dear God.
Oh yeah.
Dear God. I guess it costs like just 1 more mana, and I don't know. I guess if you Dream Trawler and then the next turn you cast like Cavalier of Gales pre-combat and you gain 3.
Yeah.
You draw 3 cards, you gain 3 extra life.
Right.
And I've not seen Grixis Fires at all.
I did. I played against it yesterday.
Okay. And I think I played against like 1 5-colored like Niv Mizzet.
Okay. I haven't seen
build.
that.
I haven't seen, that's like the old Fires deck that I was like, how are you casting your, you just had it all? Cool.
Yeah. If I was going to play a Fires deck, I would lean more toward the Grixis version. You get to play some Disruption. You get to play other Dad.
Yeah.
And they picked up a Wrath, which they didn't have before.
Yeah, I mean, because Storm's Wrath is better than Rituals in most cases, I would think.
Yeah. The big thing is it cleans up Planeswalkers. Like, we don't have Oklo running around with 14 loyalty anymore.
Yeah.
So, it just kills stuff.
It can get a Narset after 1 down take
gets it to
gets
fairy.
It fairy.
Yeah, so that was a good pickup for that deck.
Yeah.
And if they don't get fires, they just play like a regular Grixis
control deck,
like mid-range control deck. Yeah, seems pretty good. And then the last pillar.
I don't know if it's a pillar.
Yeah, I really haven't seen a whole lot of it.
I think I just wanted to bring this one up because it is kind of the example of this is super hot, and now. So it's mono white.
Yeah.
So I jumped on the mono white train and was playing some of it, and I might have played like one or two, maybe not even any mirrors, and then like I've just not seen it. It went from like this deck's super powerful, and like I lost to it initially when I was playing like just the best of one to kind of get a feel for things. I lost a bunch to it, and now it just seems like with all the Ravs running around. 1, 2, 3, put them all in the trash can. Just does not.
Well, it's hard for a deck that doesn't have any way to reload.
Yeah, you do get to play a bunch of planeswalkers in the board, but that didn't seem to help my situation much either. I was like,
well, the Ras take care of planeswalkers too. So
yeah, I was like, this is not as good as you made it out to be. Other people.
Yeah,
but that's a deck that like could for kind of as long as like I feel like a Johnny's Pride Mate is like pseudo evergreen. It's just always going to be around.
Yep.
We have 2 printings of it right now in Standard.
Right.
And, like, I think for as long as Linden and Heliod are in Standard together, like, this deck is just going to, like, hang out. And some version of it's going to be viable. Yep. Maybe not good, but, like, viable. Like, you have Alciate of the whatever. The 1-mana, 1/1 lifelinker.
Yep.
Into, I'm assuming, Evergreen, a Johnny's Pride Mate.
Right.
Into Linden, or into Heliod, into Linden. Like, you're always, if you have that, the deck's reasonable. And you have Daxos. Like, there's going to be pieces there.
Yeah. I did play against a mono white list yesterday, like last night, but it wasn't the new list, so I didn't even write it down. It was like the old list with like Loxodons and stuff. They weren't running any new cards, so I didn't even bother putting it in the chart because it's not.
I'm not going to see this ever.
That's an outlier.
Yeah.
So I was able, throughout me playing basically all weekend long, I felt as though I had enough data to draw some conclusions. Some of them are kind of obvious, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. Standard is kind of currently wide open. You know, we just rattled off, I don't know, 10 different extremely viable decks that I would not be surprised to run into. That's a pretty open field for Standard.
Yeah.
Traditionally, like on an opening weekend, aggro decks do really well, and familiarity with an archetype is rewarded. Both of my picks for this weekend, either the Jun Food list or the Gruul Embercleave list, I think I'm familiar with enough right now to pilot either one reasonably.
Yeah.
And like I played Jun Food last Standard, so I'm super comfortable with that list.
Yeah.
And then like they both just kind of have draws where they win.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what an aggro deck wants to do. So
yeah, it's a little rough though that you can't like realistically play Jun Food on Arena.
Yeah. Just
because of all the clicking and stuff.
So much clicking. Like I wasn't playing slow, just the games were taking so long. You know, I played in a couple metagame challenges with it that I did not do well. Like I played 2 back-to-back and went like 1-1 and was out because there's so many clicks to go through. Like my timer, I ran out and lost, and my opponent had like a minute left. So it's not even like, it's not like it was just me that was playing slow. It's just there's so many clicks to go through.
And a million like priority passes.
Yeah.
In the like arena, like I'm not doing anything. Like priority pass doesn't really work that well. You still like get prompted to do stuff.
Yeah, which is weird. I wish they'd fix that.
When you're like, no,
for real. They
do
need
nothing.
Like, so they need like a pass turn button, and then they need like a no for reals button.
Yeah, like there should be like 2. Like there should be like a yellow one that's like if you click this, we're gonna like stop and ask you things.
Yeah.
And then like one that's like green.
Right.
It's just like, oh no, we're going. Just let me know when it's back to me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I'm your opponent, like that, like buys me a lot more time.
Right.
Instead of having to hit like okay.
Yeah.
A million times, because all those seconds add up when you have a core vault out and there are like a million triggers on the stack.
Yeah. So what's going on in Pioneer?
A lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. I think that the format, from what I've seen, one, the metagame is like all over the place and like changing constantly.
Yeah.
But like I think the constant is like mono black.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like depending on where you look at a given time, mono black is somewhere around 10% of the format. Like I think on like Goldfish it was recently, but it's like there was like a week ago that like Niv Mizzet 5-color Niv was like 18% of like the top 32 decks in like the Pioneer Challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't looked to see what the results of the Pioneer Showcase were this weekend. But
I think mono red won.
Mono what red? Are we talking chunky mono red or are we talking?
I didn't look super close.
Okay.
I just saw a whole lot of red cards.
Okay. There's a lot of there's a lot of aggressive decks because the removal's not great except for in black.
Right.
And there are some interesting combo decks, which is where my head is at, floating around. And the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to apologize to Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah, I think you should.
Because when I first saw the card, I was like, this card's not like a rare quality card. I think my head was like in like a limited space, and I was like, this card's like whatever.
Well, you read it, and it's like wall of text, and you forget bits and pieces that are in that wall of text.
Yeah, or you don't think about how you abuse the, like, you're like, my devotion's never going to be 20.
Right.
Like, no, you can win with a card when your devotion is 0.
Right.
And it's like...
It's just Lab Man.
It's just Lab Man. And it's like, okay. It's a Lab Man that you can win when you have 2 cards in your deck.
Correct. There's also a Lab Man where you can win if they kill it.
Yes. All these things are good.
Yeah.
So, I was initially, and I bought the cards for... Heliod combo featuring Suns Out, Guns Out, Heliod, and Walking Ballista.
Yep.
So it was the old
Kethis
combo deck, but you throw in 3 Heliods and 3 Walking Ballistas. So it gets to do the combo, the Kethis combo, but sometimes you have a Tashar and just like
win.
Yeah, you play a Walking Ballista and you get back a Heliod and you give it lifelink and you win. It also Emery also plays well with the Heliod game plan because it brings you back your Walking Ballistas.
Right.
So you have a way to just like rebuy that.
Yeah.
So it all
they kind of build off each other.
Yeah, it all seemed to go pretty well together. You still are missing, Oath of Nissa,
right?
Who died for Nykthos' sins, and Once Upon a Time that just died because it was a poorly designed Magic card. But, like, that seemed pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And Cameron messaged me and said, hey, Gabe Nassif's playing that deck in the Pioneer Challenge. I was like, okay. And my concern with the deck was kind of like with, what is it called? When we played Hogak.
Yeah.
And, like, we were proficient enough that we could play the deck if we got reasonable draws.
Right.
And didn't run into
all of the graveyard hate.
Yeah. And I felt like I'd played the deck before. I played Kethis combo in Standard. I played Kethis in Pioneer. And I was like, okay. And watching Gabriel Nassif played, his list was a little different. So I was like noting sideboard stuff. Yeah. And he was just like, I went from no one having ley lines to everyone has ley lines now.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
I might be out just because the decks that everyone's currently like scared of are some version of Kethis, maybe.
Yeah.
Lotus Field combo.
Right.
Which just can't win the game.
Yeah. Without
if it doesn't have a graveyard.
Yeah.
And like Soul Flare is a deck that people are playing. Soul Flare for the uninitiated is 4 black for a 4/4.
Yes.
And
it has Delve.
And gets the keyword of any creature that you delved.
Right.
From a list of keywords that are on the card. So when they make a new keyword, it does not like show up.
Correct.
But so it plays like, Zapulta, which is,
flying indestructible double strike.
Yes.
Yep.
Maybe Vigilance too. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Questing Beast and Sylvan Caryatid that gives hexproof. So you just basically vultured up a giant, like a 4/4, like just monster. And so there are all these like graveyard decks, and
like even like you said, mono black is one of the most popular decks in the format right now.
And it's playing like 4 ley lines, I think.
Well, it also plays Scrap Heap Scrounger, Gutter Bones, and Bloodsoaked Champion.
Yeah, so it plays a bunch of
from the
graveyard recursion.
Yeah.
So like Ley Line of the Void and like Grafdigger's Cage are all
very good
cards. And I was like, I don't think I want to play
a graveyard-based deck.
Into like multiple decks that are on people's radar are graveyard-based decks.
Mm-hmm.
And even things like mono red, like the bigger, the chunky mono red is playing 4 Eidolon of the Great Rebels in the sideboard.
Yeah.
And like
you can't afford to cast 1 million spells in a turn.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And people are playing Damping Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I'm going to play this deck, and I'm going to get game 1s easy.
Yeah, and then never win a game 2.
Just look like an idiot in game 2 and game 3. And so I was like, well, what is something that is not going to require me to look like an idiot for 2/3 of the match? And so I saw there's this guy, Will Eddles or something that I've never heard of. I think he like streams a little, and he like constantly tweets decks at Arena Deck List, and I constantly retweet them because they're interesting.
Yeah.
And he tweeted out an early version of the Inverter of Truth deck.
Yeah.
So this is a deep cut. This is a card that I forgot about, but that I desperately wanted to be good in Standard.
Right.
And forgot about.
Right.
Missed the boat to make a ton of money as they went from like 50 cents to $2 to I paid $6 for them today.
Yeah.
So it's a 6/6 flyer for 2 black.
Right.
With Devoid.
So it's colorless.
So it's colorless. Take that ultimate price.
Yeah. But not Ceremonious Rejection.
But not Ceremonious Rejection. Oh, God. And when it comes into play, you exile your library, and your graveyard becomes your library.
Right.
So you can do that on turn 4. Doesn't matter if he lives or dies. Then you can play a Thassa's Oracle.
Right.
And win the game.
Right.
Or you can play a Jace Wielder of Mysteries and win the game. And so you just have to play your 4 mana 6/6 that, like, in a pinch, if you've got like 8 cards in your library, attacks and blocks as a 6/6 flyer.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Like, I saw a couple people that had like 8 cards in their library, and I'm just like, dude's at 18 and like it's playing mono green. There's no way they're killing a 6/6 flyer.
Yeah.
You can win in 8 turns. Just go for it. People have called it basically Splinter Twin.
Kind of,
because you like turn 4, play 1 combo piece, turn 5, play the other one.
Right.
So it doesn't fold to Graveyard Hate. Rest in Peace / Leyline of the Void kind of matter, kind of don't.
Yeah, kind of don't.
Like it turns off like the deck plays dig through times to.
Yeah, but I mean, if you know you're going up against, Rest in Peace or Leyline, like I would imagine you cut your digs.
You can cut some, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, these 4 cards are worse.
Right.
But I can still just on turn 6
win,
play an Inverter, play Thassa's Oracle, or on turn 5, like go Jace on turn 4 plus, play Inverter,
right,
plus Jace, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, the deck just gets to play Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, various like good interaction. It kind of like, I was thinking it as kind of like Depths in a way, where you like are very much just looking at, okay, when a thought sees you, I can let you have creatures.
Right.
Like, I just care about very specific things that interact with what I'm trying to do, and just kind of building towards, what I'm trying to do, as opposed to like really like having to like play real Magic. Just like I'll interact a little bit. So that's where I am. Like, I think there's just so much graveyard hate because of just random.
Well, I mean, everything's kind of in the graveyard now.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense to willingly like run into that.
Yep.
So
I'm with you.
That was my thought, like, I think the Kethis deck is good. I have, like, there are just a lot of spots where you're just like, oh, I guess I win now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, that's great, but, you know, you might only have 3 or 4 ways to answer a ley line.
Yeah.
And then you have to, like, mulligan to them.
Right.
And then you end up with, like, a non-functional hand that has, like, an answer to graveyard hate.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, kill your thing. I guess I'm not going to do anything.
Right.
So I was like, I don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is, like, a good, like, lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Is, like, you know, maybe we should have taken this in, like, Hogak Summer. Is like, oh, if you know everyone's going to have 4 to 8 pieces of graveyard hate in their deck.
Probably don't play a graveyard deck.
Yeah. Right? I think Pioneer is pretty broad.
Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to go that hard in on the graveyard hate or like specific hate. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to hit, you know, the top deck in the metagame being mono black, and then these other decks that people are all like, oh, this looks really cool. I think you're going to play the graveyard hate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also like just incidental hate for other things because both Lotus Field and Kethis need you to, like, if you're not going to hate out the graveyard, you're playing Damping Sphere, you're playing Eidolon, you're making it so they can't combo off.
Right.
So if you are looking at the format going, man, there's going to be a lot of hate, maybe if you can, like, steer out of the skid before you get too far into it.
Yeah.
We have down here, so what's going on in Modern?
I have no idea what's going on in Modern.
From what I have heard, it's post-Oko ban, Mox Opal ban. It's just supposed to be like
a sea of Primeval Titans,
just
as far as you can see.
As far as I can see.
Yeah.
Because Dryad of the Elysian Grove
yeah.
just makes it so you, like, 15, 20 people out of nowhere.
Right.
Because, like, someone, like, sent out a tweet that was just like, this is a kill now. And it was, they had a primetime on the battlefield, and it was Summoner's Pact for Dryad, attack, get 2 Valakuts, they're both mountains.
Whew.
So that's like a ton of triggers, and then hit you with a primetime. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I guess, like, is that, because that's 4 triggers?
Yeah, it's 4 triggers.
Because each one sees itself and the other one come in.
Yeah.
So it's like an attack for 18.
Right. Seems pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's a bunch of prime times. I'm sure that things like
they're also playing Field of the Dead.
Yeah. But like mono red is fine. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, or burn, I should say.
Burn, yeah.
Burn is like always going to just be fine, and it's good against like prime times.
I'm kind of surprised that Cameron's off of Infect in a sea of Primeval Titans.
Yeah, because like I don't think they're playing Bolt anymore.
No.
Like they're just like not about that life.
Yeah. And you can kill them before they get like Primetime Engine online.
Yeah. Like there's no way he doesn't bring Infect in the bag.
It with him. Yeah.
Right? Like there's no way he doesn't. And like if he changes his mind. But he did send a list of a bunch of Eldrazi cards.
Yeah, it's a weird Eldrazi list. Red, green. Something. Eldrazi, something.
I remember losing to this deck 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
Well, it was a lot better then, though.
It was.
Yeah.
It had like a brief 3 weeks where it was great. Where like playing black-white tokens was the worst thing you could ever possibly do.
Did it anyway, though.
And I did it anyway, and it was the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
I should have followed Bowman's lead when that GP blew up, and they gave everyone like...
And you dipped?
He did. Yeah. He did it 3-1. I was like, no, I'm gonna turn this around. We did not turn it around.
Oh, I did. That was my first day too.
Yeah, that was the first time I lost to a child playing a Chroma's Monument.
So I had to beat Tron twice to make day 2 playing Jund.
Yes.
And I did.
It's pretty good.
Somehow.
I
channeled my inner Reed Duke.
I had an 8-year-old tell me that I did not value my life total high enough because I went Godless Shrine, Shock, Thoughtseize You.
Yeah.
And he was on Elves.
Oh.
And that matchup was awful for me.
Yeah.
He's like, you didn't value your life total enough. I'm like, you attacked me for 35 both times.
That 4 damage didn't matter.
Didn't matter if I was at 16 or 20. I was super dead.
Yeah, I could have gained 10 life and still died.
Yeah, like, what do you... It's like, you need to be better. I'm like, okay.
You need to be better.
Thank you. All right. So, we have not been checked into Modern. It was...
in a while.
The format was, like, definitively solved for a little while.
Yeah.
And now it's definitively not.
Right.
And if you're not going to give us any money, give Team Lotus Box some money, and they'll tell you what Modern list to play.
Yeah.
And the format will be definitively solved in like 2 weeks, and then
everyone
will go back to complaining about how awful Modern is.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. And now to Arena.
Mm-hmm.
So we already talked about kind of what the standard metagame is.
We talked a lot about standard,
yes.
And it was all Arena data, so that kind of eats up some of this Arena segment.
Yeah.
But we'll go over what we can.
The chart is live. I basically set it up to be for like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Not 3 weeks, I'm sorry. For like the 23rd to the 2nd. So all the way through next weekend, because that's when we're going to have our first actual tournament results. Okay. That's going to be a Star City, like the team portion, the standard portions. We'll have some data from that.
All right. So if that's the case, before you leave tonight, we should go through and fix the headers.
What's wrong with them?
We'll go over it when we're done.
Oh man.
I mean, there's some stuff that doesn't need to be there and some other stuff that should be there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was our first go at it.
Well, that's what he said, if it's going to be up for 2 weeks or whatever, then
it's going to be up till the end of this week.
Yeah.
But so try to, put data in there so hopefully we can figure out what's going on.
Yep. I would appreciate it.
Yeah. So I added this last thing. This was actually what I actually started the file for this show with this one bullet point, and you missed it, so that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
No, you just started a new file. I was like, oh. I had an episode 55 file.
I didn't even see it.
And the only thing that was in that file was the Arena email.
Oh, yeah, the Arena email.
So we talked briefly about the mythical Arena email.
Yeah.
Which is they sent us an email with our statistics for just Throne of Eldraine. So
for the whole Throne season.
For the whole Throne season. So from when Throne started till Throne ended. Mm-hmm. And so I made it to a Plat 3 in both limited and constructed.
Oh, congratulations.
Ooh. Yeah, I was not really trying that hard. I don't know. I have lost I proved to myself that I could hit Mythic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to put in the time.
Yeah, man, you played a ton of Arena. You hit Mythic twice, right?
I hit Mythic twice.
Yeah.
I hit Mythic playing best of 1 when that was like the only option, and then I hit it playing best of 3. And I don't want to play that much Arena anymore. So you have yours up? Where did you get to?
I was unranked and limited because I don't play limited.
Okay, I got bored and just played some like Throne limited.
I also hit Plat 3.
Okay. That's right, Plat 3 podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo-hoo!
Better than gold. And then I cast...
there's one other statistic here.
Well, I have my most drafted comments, but I cast...
I didn't draft anything, so I didn't have those.
Cast 29,629 spells.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is like 300 spells a day. Like if the season's 90 days long.
Yeah, that's
roughly,
impressive.
that's like 300 spells a day.
Good job.
Yeah.
I cast 8,000 spells. So you cast 21,000 more spells than me.
Yeah. Yeah, but we got to the same constructed rank, just tell you. And I apparently, like, the cards they have as, like, my most drafted commons just make no sense.
Yeah.
So my most drafted common was Gingerbrute.
That's great.
At 22. My next one was Garen Briggs Squire.
Yeah?
Yeah,
a whole lot of them floating around.
One of the green last pick. Must have been. I had 17 of them, and like, I don't like that card. Like, I was not actively putting that card in my deck.
No.
I don't know if the bots just never took that.
Never pick it. Yeah, maybe.
And then I had 15 copies of True Love's Kiss.
Ooh.
Yeah, the one white. Was it Slice and Twain?
Yeah.
I think I played this main board occasionally, but like. That was not, like, my primary game plan. I didn't do that many drafts. I mean, clearly, if I only had 22 of a common.
Right.
But, yeah, it was like, I really wish I would have done like the whole year.
I don't want to see that information.
That'd have been great. Like just like if you did for
how much money have you spent on Arena this year?
Yeah, how many friends do you not have because you did not leave your house?
Exactly.
Why do you hate pants so much? Well, you see.
As a quick Arena aside, I have a feeling that we, like last episode or the episode before, we had talked about like the best way to approach a new set as far as collecting your stuff on Arena. I'm like 99% positive this is the correct way to do it.
Okay.
Because I haven't bought any loose packs except for like what I earned in gold or whatever, and I hit my first chest already.
Okay.
And what are we, 2 weeks in, a week in?
A weekend, release weekend was last weekend. So we're not even 2 weeks in for when it was on Arena.
Yeah, so I hit my first chest already.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, it's the way to do it.
And this came up in our group chat, and this is something to just keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're like okay with standard, but like maybe you have an eye on like Pioneer on Arena.
Yeah.
Like Arena rewards you so heavily for just getting those 4 wins every day.
Yeah.
Like even if you're like, I'm just gonna get on and like play best of one, unranked, just to like I'm gonna have a red deck, a blue deck, a black deck, a green deck
to get your goals.
To get your goals, and I'm just gonna like get my wins and then like not play.
Right.
Just to have like a collection of packs and gold that so that when they do finally put Pioneer on, whenever that is, or like if they like make historic bigger and it becomes something that is more interesting, right? The fact that you have some number of the cards.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to buy into Pioneer if you haven't played any Arena up until that point.
I mean, it's going to be hard to buy into Pioneer, period.
Right.
Especially when the model for it is effectively loot boxes.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, the only way you can get any of these cards is to crack packs. Yeah. And as we've talked about, cracking packs is the worst way to get specific cards.
Absolutely.
So, like, just having...
Well, they said they're going to do, like, remastered sets, right? Kind of like
so, like draft.
Magic Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but again, like, that is, like, hoping that they put the right cards in.
Right.
Right? Because let's say they don't think Hidden Strings is good in the limited environment.
That's true.
Right? And then they don't put Hidden Strings in. Mm-hmm. So now Lotus Field can't get played.
Right.
Now they might like say like, oh, these are the top 30 decks in Pioneer. We need to make sure that we have
all the stuff for them.
All the stupid random commons or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, like it's just going to be like awful if you like have to crack,
Well, right, but they could do like a remastered set for each block going backwards.
Yeah, but then just have like all the cards,
the rest of the sets.
Yeah, they could.
That way you could, like, the majority of the stuff you could draft and get, your copies of the rares and whatever, and then, you can blow some wild cards and whatever bad commons that you need to fill the slots out.
Yeah. But that requires you to have
some number of
wild cards, right, which requires you to have like played. Yeah. So, if you are like hesitant to get too far into standard, like just being active on Arena is going to help you build your collection so you can actually do something.
Right. And like if you guys want to, we have that post going on Facebook to share like usernames on Arena for all our listeners. If you're somebody that doesn't, isn't super into standard but wants to get your wins or whatever, hop on there and shoot someone a message. See if you can just get your wins real quick.
So, do direct challenges... I don't know if direct challenges count for wins. Because when I was direct challenging Anthony...
Maybe they don't.
I don't know. Because, like, you could just go on and, like, concede.
Yeah, that's true.
Just do 8 matches. Like, you concede 4, I concede 4, we're good. So I don't know if they actually count towards towards progress. I think it counts towards spells cast.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it counts towards, like, wins. And even if you just want to cast your spells... Like, getting your, like, daily achievements.
Yeah, those are important, too.
Like, that will add up over the course of, if it takes them a year to get Arena, to get Pioneer on Arena, right? Just picking a random time frame.
Right.
Like, just getting, like, your daily quest, or just going on every, like, third day, doing your 3 quests and getting a couple wins will give you something, will give you a baseline to actually be able to, have a collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just about everything, right?
Yeah, I think that's everything we had to talk about today. If anybody else is going to be in Richmond this weekend, hit us up.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Yep.
If you want to see how we're doing, I will do my best to
keep a thread going.
I was able to do it once. I just have to try to do it again. It's going to be rough.
Are you all ready for this weekend? As ready as you're going to be?
As ready as I'm going to be. I mean, I have some number of cards in a deck I've never played before in my hand. So I feel good.
My wife and I spent yesterday on Amazon.
Okay.
Searching for snacks.
Oh, man.
That fit into my diet that she's got me on.
Oh, no. Healthy snacks?
Yeah.
Oh, no. What did you end up with? Just some dried fruit?
Oh, grain-free granola, which I'm sure is delicious.
Granola is just a grain. How do you have grain-free granola? Is this beyond granola? Plant-based, non-grain granola?
I have no idea. It's downstairs.
Okay, cruelty-free granola. Check.
Yep. And I've got some beef jerky bars that taste delicious, but the texture is terrible. They're ultra processed, so you bite into it and it turns to sand in your mouth. Yeah. A
beef jerky bar was beef jerky not portable enough as a dried meat stick. Let's make this a bar.
Well, all the sugar and stuff I can't have in my diet, so I had to find something that didn't have a whole bunch of sugar in it, or any.
Interesting. So we've got a bag of sand that we're calling granola, and we have a block of sand that we're calling beef jerky.
Basically, yeah.
So if there's a murder at the Richmond Convention Center, it's because Carson got hangry, and I don't know, someone cast absorb into Dreamcrawler, and he was like,
man. Dream smash.
Man murders someone while screaming. This is what happens when you're not allowed to have granola-based granola. You just beat a man with a bag of sand. This is all I was allowed to eat.
I need some real food.
You.
What do you got in your bag? Beating up kids for their lunches.
Exactly. I'm beside you eating gummy bears, and you're just I hate you. Yeah. So I was at a conference on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the person who helped organize it, and then the person who runs the entire $10 million grant was over talking, and I'm just sitting there eating sour gummy bears, having a conversation like adults do. I'm
right.
I'm assuming this is how adults do these things. I was like, yeah, that's interesting.
I feel my tongue tingling.
Did I offer them a gummy bear? I did not.
Good job.
I offered the students I was with gummy bears.
There you go.
And they were like...
That's the important part.
These are the best gummy bears I've ever had. I'm like, I know. I'm a gummy bear aficionado.
40 years to perfect this.
40 years to find the right gummy bear.
Yeah, we got there.
And I found these in a gas station in Richmond, and it changed my life. Speaking of a diet, a guy's like, oh my God, can I have a gummy bear? This is when we were in Richmond when I first got them.
Yeah.
It's like, sure. And he gets a gummy bear. And he's like, oh, these aren't vegan. I can't have this. And why? I was like, they're gummy bears. Of course they're not. Of course they're made out of bear. What did you think?
Or horses or pigs or whatever.
What did you think is a gummy bear? This isn't vegan. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't think you can make a vegan gummy bear. I'm sure someone has.
I don't know what you'd use for gelatin.
I don't know. I don't know what you use to replace granola, but here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
Someone found a way.
Granola-free granola.
So,
yeah.
If you would like to also send James healthy snack ideas,
sure.
You can tweet those at us at Casual Tripod on Twitter.
Yep. You can shoot me a message on Facebook.
With your condolences.
With your condolences. Casual Tryhard MTG is where you'll find us on Facebook. You could send us an email, show@casualtryhardmtg.com.
Of just pictures of you eating real food.
Oh, please don't do that.
Just like here's me with a pot roast.
Listen, man, I only got 10 days left, okay? I got to stick it out.
Stick it out.
Also, if you guys come up with any Patreon ideas, hit us up with those on Patreon.
A recipe tier, like whatever.
Sure.
Granola containing granola, my recipe.
Good job.
So with that, we will catch you in Richmond.
We will catch you guys in Richmond. Have a good one.